Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate ringsidenews.com. Got your questions here from spring.me/Aaron Rift. That is the place where you could submit questions. Let's get started here today with the first one from Mario Warfare 24. Cheers. Do you see WWE bringing Brock Lesnar back when we're closing in on the Payback pay-per-view? It would be kind of a perfect way with Brock Lesnar being angry at Seth for taking the WWE World Heavyweight title. Thanks. I do not expect to see Brock Lesnar in a WWE ring until SummerSlam. Right now, there's plenty of guys for Seth Rollins to feud with. After Randy Orton, I'm expecting to see Seth Rollins feud with Roman Reigns, and it's quite possible that Roman Reigns will win the title from Seth Rollins, and the SummerSlam main event is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, a rematch from WrestleMania. I could very well see that being the SummerSlam main event. As much as Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar would be an interesting match, I could see WWE's perspective being that Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar is a more marketable match, and maybe we'll get the Roman Reigns heel turn. Who knows? But I think right now, WWE is going to focus on Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns and see how that plays out, see how the fans react, and go from there. But in the meantime, I don't see WWE bringing Brock Lesnar back until the major pay-per-view. Every year, it's always WrestleMania, and then he's gone until SummerSlam. And I think WWE is going to focus on the guys they have right now and save Lesnar's return for their second or third biggest show of the year. Got this question here from CPW1978. As unlikelihood and all likelihood it would be, what 5 TNA stars do you think could or would have potential in WWE? Bram, Bobby Roode? How great would a Magnus versus Cesaro feud be? Well, looking at the guys in TNA that have not been in WWE, I'm obviously not going to include Kurt Angle in this list. Bobby Roode would be at the top of my list, no doubt. Bobby Roode, I think, would do very well in WWE. I think that if given an opportunity, Austin Aries could do very well in WWE. I think the size is something that works against him, but I think that if WWE actually let him go out there and do his thing, I think Austin Aries could be successful. Also, the Wolves, even though WWE passed on them, I think that once again, if they were given an opportunity to go out there on television and either sink or swim, I think that they would swim. So, those 4 guys, and you could make an argument for James Storm or Bram or any number of guys in TNA. Now that EC3 is doing well, maybe he could get another chance in WWE. There's a lot of guys that I think that are talented in TNA and would do well in WWE if they were marketed properly. And guys that could be doing more for TNA right now if TNA knew how to market these guys and make them larger-than-life superstars, which we haven't really seen. But if TNA knew what they were doing, I think that all the guys I just mentioned would be bigger stars than they are right now. All right, this one comes from Slow Motion Man. Hey Aaron, 25 years later, what are your thoughts on Roddy Piper painting half his body black at WrestleMania 6 when he faced Bad News Brown? At the time, I did not think too much of it, mainly because I was 6, but looking back on it, I think it crossed the line. Well, looking back at it, it was a different time period, and I don't think the world, let alone WWE, was as PR, and people were not as politically correct. I think now something like that would not go over well with anybody. It would be bad publicity to do something like that. At the time, I think people just looked the other way, and it didn't offend people as much to do things like that. Now, everybody is ultra sensitive, and if you say anything that's controversial or racial or whatever, people get very upset, and that's just the kind of world we live in right now. So yeah, I think that, did it cross the line back then? Does it cross the line now? Doesn't bother me personally, but I'm sure there's people out there that might have been offended by it. But WWE, to my knowledge, did not get any kind of real backlash from that back in the day. If they did it now, they probably would. But to me, I mean, it's not really necessary for a storyline. All right, this one comes from Mega Drive 144. Hey Aaron, with SmackDown moving to USA Network, rumors are already spreading about a new brand split. Do you think it will happen? Do you even want it to happen? Personally, I'd love to see it. I actually would be in favor of the brand split returning. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But should it happen? I think that if WWE really wanted to push SmackDown again and make SmackDown a big deal, they would bring back the brand split. Now, right now, the problem in WWE is they don't have the roster depth that they had back in the early 2000s. But that can definitely change. With NXT, you can bring in more people. You can scout more talent from outside places. It's not like WWE will have trouble getting more talent to fill up the roster or rosters. I would like to see the brand extension return just because I'm tired of the 5 hours of television every week with the same guys, and I think the wrestlers get overexposed, superstars. The superstars get overexposed on television when you have the same guys on television twice a week, and 5 hours of first-run television is a lot. It's really... It really is, and I think that with a brand extension, guys would not get as stale, and also you can merge the two together for the pay-per-view events, and that would make them more special. I just think it's better. It was a good period when you had the brand extension because if you wanted to see one guy, you would tune into Raw. If there was another guy, he was exclusive to SmackDown, you would tune into SmackDown. Both shows you had to watch every week, and there was top talent on both shows. And, guys did not get overexposed. I really think that that's the biggest benefit to doing the brand extension is, and it also gives other guys an opportunity to step up and get TV time and have some exposure. All right, this one comes from I Am Avin. Did you watch the Chris Jericho podcast, and what were your thoughts, if so? Jericho was being too nice, not like Austin, and Cena's almost heel turn. And Cena kissing Vince's ass, etc. What did you think about all this? Thanks, you're awesome. I felt that it was an entertaining podcast. I don't think it was quite as groundbreaking in terms of things coming out during the interview as the first two Austin podcasts. I felt that this one was safer, and John Cena didn't really say anything shocking or anything like that. It was fairly standard. I mean, what you would expect John Cena to say, he said. But I was entertained by it, and I think John Cena, if anything, came off very likable during that interview. As far as John Cena's comments about almost turning heel, I'm sure if John Cena wanted to turn heel and the company wanted him to go heel, he would go heel. But the company doesn't want it. And I think John Cena is just happy to be doing what he's doing. I mean, he really did come off likable to me as a guy who loves his job. Yes, he's a company man, but he has passion about what he does, and he enjoys what he does. And, you can't really fault the guy. He's just going out there and doing his job. And I know some people out there saying you defend WWE too much, you defend John Cena too much. I mean, this is just a guy who loves wrestling, who loves doing what he's doing, and he does whatever they ask. If they ask him to go out there and be the superhero, that's what he's going to do. But if they want him to do something else, I think he would do it. There's only so much you can say about John Cena from a critical standpoint. He made fun of himself during the interview, too. He made fun of himself for the 5 moves of doom. If you're able to make fun of yourself, he's conscious of everything that's going on. And he's aware of the feedback, and, he just goes out there and does his thing, and he has fun with it. He makes the most of it. So I enjoyed that part of the interview. And as far as Jericho's questions, it was just the two of them just chatting and talking about things. It was nothing groundbreaking, like I said, but it was still an entertaining podcast, I thought. All right, this one comes from Peter Griffin 25. Hey Aaron, keep up the good work. Longtime YouTube and NoDQ.com follower. First time asking. Money has always been a no-go to talk about, but what do you know about the income of lower mid-card WWE stars? I am really interested in the business part of WWE. Well, to my knowledge, the lower card guys or the mid card guys in WWE aren't making quite as much money as they were a decade ago. You have to keep in mind during the Monday Night Wars, it was a good period for wrestlers because they had two sides to negotiate. They could go back and forth and they could get the best deal for them. Now it's a different landscape. WWE is the one big game in town, and because of that, it's hard to negotiate, and WWE has more control over the contracts and how much they're paying people. I believe that the top guys are still being paid really well, but some of those lower guys, I would guess they're probably making in the low six figures, maybe closer to the mid six figures for some of them, depending on the level of the star and how far along he is or she. Well, the women probably aren't making that much, but I would think that the male mid-card wrestlers are making a couple $100,000 a year. I would guess. I don't know the exact figure, and I know there's a lot of figures that have gone out there and that have been over the internet, and there's speculation about what they're making. That's just a guess on my part. I wouldn't know for sure, but I'm pretty certain that wrestlers aren't making quite as much as they were 15 years ago when you had the Monday Night Wars and wrestling was really hot, and the company was just bringing in tons of money, and they could afford to pay people more too. And also now there's cutbacks, and WWE is really careful about paying out money and all that stuff, I'm sure. All right, last question here comes from Wrestling Lad. Hey Aaron, first time asker. Do you ever think CM Punk will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame one day? Please answer in video. I'm sure if CM Punk wants to go in the Hall of Fame someday, he will go into the Hall of Fame. He definitely has a Hall of Fame career, the longest reigning WWE champion of the modern era, and one of the few guys in WWE that really made a difference to fans. I think that CM Punk is an obvious choice for the Hall of Fame eventually. Will it happen right away? No. CM Punk, I think, does not want to get involved with wrestling in any capacity. He's doing other things. He's doing UFC. I think that CM Punk, 15, 20 years down the line, if he never comes back to WWE and wrestles, I can still see him going into the Hall of Fame. 15, 20 years down the line, anything can happen. We've seen before with guys that were on bad terms with WWE. Eventually, things work themselves out. We saw it with Bruno. We saw it with Hogan. We saw it with Warrior. All these guys were on bad terms with WWE, and eventually things got worked out. I expect the same thing to happen with CM Punk, and I think WWE and CM Punk will do business again someday, whether it's him getting back in the ring or going into the Hall of Fame. I'm thinking eventually something will happen, and he will come back in some capacity, and at the very least do the Hall of Fame. So that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on Facebook and Twitter. Tell a friend about No DQ&A video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for breaking news regarding Extreme Rules. Discuss WWE and Extreme Rules at NoDQforums.com. And stay tuned to the No DQ CW channel, and I will see you guys next time for another edition of No DQ&A video.